On October 14th, 2022, David Alvarez Sr. and his 26-year-old nephew, Jacob Jones, were arrested during a traffic stop. When they were arrested, the officer that arrested them did not pat them down before placing them in the back of his police cruiser together. As you can see in the video, David Alverson has a baggie of methamphetamine by his ankle, and he's getting Jacob Jones to get the baggie out so that he is not arrested for possessing drugs. So David and Jacob both ingest the bags so that they are not charged with possession. After getting to the Crawford County Detention Center, Jacob started showing signs of illness, and Jacob continued to show those signs for several hours into the next day. Allegedly, the people who were in the pod with Jacob Jones and David Alverson repeatedly asked for help for Jacob Jones because he was getting extremely ill, but those pleas for help were ignored. It was even reported at one time that people who were in the jail with Jacob Jones were calling family members and having the family members call the Crawford County Detention Center and ask them to give medical assistance to Jacob Jones, but those calls were ignored. Finally, Jacob Jones was taken to an emergency room for medical treatment, but Jacob did not make it. According to the autopsy, the drugs that Jacob ingested in an effort to not have additional charges opened in his stomach, and he died from methamphetamine toxicity. David Alvarez was charged with manslaughter in December 2022 in the death of his nephew, along with possession of a controlled substance and introducing a controlled substance into the body of another. So earlier this month, in September 2023, David Alverson actually pleaded guilty to some of these charges. David Alverson pled guilty to manslaughter and was sentenced to 15 years. He also pled guilty to the possession of a controlled substance and was sentenced to 15 years. Now, these sentences will run concurrently, meaning he will only serve up to 15 years. The family of Jacob Jones has filed a lawsuit against Crawford County and some of the officers involved for the death of Jacob Jones. They're actually saying basically that his constitutional rights were not upheld and that ended in his death. If you want my opinion, I know no one does, but you're going to get it anyway. Yes, they are absolutely responsible. And first and foremost, the officer that arrested these two, he did not pat them down, which is standard procedure before you are arresting someone, especially someone who you think is an addict or might have drugs or a weapon on them. And not only did he not pat them down, but he put them in a car together where something like this could happen. Then if everything that they're saying is correct, the fact that they asked repeatedly for medical assistance for Jacob Jones and that was ignored. To me, it's like the same thing as officers who are arrested for having relationships with people who are in jail. Like, it just relates the same way to me. People who are in jail are property of the state. People who are in jail are not capable of doing things for themselves. They're not capable of meeting their needs. They are reliant completely on the state or the county or whatever facility that they're in and the people working at that facility. Jacob Jones was at the mercy of Crawford County, and Crawford County did not do their job to take care of Jacob Jones if what is being said is correct and people in that pod repeatedly asked for help for Jacob Jones. Of course, like, we weren't there, definitely weren't privy to what was going on in that pod, but if anyone noticed that something was wrong with him and they asked for help once, twice, 3 times, and that was all ignored and no one came in to check on him, yes, they did violate his rights. They did not take care of him as is their job, and they are partially responsible for his death. And actually, maybe he would have lived, maybe he wouldn't have lived had they found it earlier, but at least he would have had a chance. He didn't even have a chance. He was so far gone by the time that they actually got him medical assistance. So many hours had gone by, and that is unnecessary. It's ridiculous, and it is a violation of his rights. So, we'll wait to see how this plays out. I do hope that the family does get whatever they're needing from this, because I can't imagine, losing someone in this way. So prayers to the family, as they're continuing to go through this.